Hello friends, it's Evelyn and Luna here as always. Welcome back to the channel. A huge thank you to all of you for continuing to support us here on this little corner of the internet. Yeah, can you sniff? Hey? With Halloween fast approaching, it's finally costume time, and this year I've bitten off quite a lot to chew. I had quite a few ideas for what to create for Luna and I this year, but it came down in the end to one idea, and that is the Khaleesi herself, Daenerys Targaryen, and her dragon, Drogon. Yes, Luna's going to be a dragon. What do you think? You're going to be a dragon? Does that sound like a good idea? Yes? I think she's already a dragon, to be honest. So, without further ado, let's chat costumes. More importantly, let's get a cuppa. Do you want a cuppa? Does that sound like a good idea? Come on then. Let's go. Hello. Hello. Oh. Monkey. Hi, cutie. Okay. Go on, yeah, get your body. I got 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 your body. So, cup it in hand, let's chat the costume. Delicious. So, this year I am hoping to be able to recreate one of my ultimate favourite Queen Khaleesi Mother of Dragons dresses. This one. Hopefully there should be an image of the dress here, if I can make it happen. Crazy things have happened, but you know, me being technologically incompetent as I am, let's cross our fingers there's an image there. The beautiful blue dress that she wears when she's in QARTH. Now I've been thinking about how to recreate this, and to create the dress portion of the garment I have used these two fabrics. Firstly, this underlining, which is just a nude lining fabric, and then this gorgeous blue chiffon. Because, as chiffon invariably is incredibly see-through, we want to retain just a little modicum of modesty with this costume. Fingers crossed. So, to start with, the first thing I did was think about how to construct the skirt. So I grabbed my lining fabric and took approximately twice my waist measurement and gathered it around my dress form. You'll notice though that I haven't placed any gathers directly at the centre front, because that tends to be a much more flattering way of creating a gathered skirt. And I placed it on my lovely dress form Betty here, just to see if I liked the amount of fullness that that creates. And I'm happy to say that yes, I'm quite happy with that for my skirt. I'm then going to create an overlay in the chiffon. Now, as you can see, if I place the chiffon over, you can still see that underlining quite visibly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 times my waist measurement for my gathered skirt chiffon layer, in the hope that it will conceal a little bit more of the nude lining and give the beautiful fullness of the skirt, Danny's version in the inspiration image. So now that I'm happy with how much fullness in my lining and fabric layers, I can now go and cut out my pieces. And for the length of the skirt, I've literally just gone from my waist to floor measurement. Let's get cutting out some chiffon, shall we? Let's do it. Okay, so I've sewn the panels together and created my 2 skirt layers, and then I've just basted a line of gathering stitches around the top just so I could pull the skirts in and place them on Betty to see how it looks, and I absolutely love the results so far. I love how the skirt looks, and I'm liking how you can't quite see through it now, so I'm really quite happy with that as a first step. And I'm actually really excited about how this costume's coming together now. I thought I had taken on a little bit too much and maybe been a little bit ambitious, but I think I can do this. So the next step with the skirt and Betty should have been to paint this chiffon layer. If you take a look at the inspiration image, you might be able to see that the blue chiffon that Dani is wearing has a gorgeous gold print all over it. And I was going to use acrylic gold paint and a sponge to do so, and I need to do that outside. However, it's just started to rain. So instead of giving up for the day, I've decided that I'm going to go and start Luna's costume, and hopefully the weather will be a little bit kinder and fairer tomorrow so we can continue work on the skirt. Let's go and have a look at Luna's costume. Okay, so I'm now going to draft the pattern for the wings on Luna's costume. In terms of the base, I have just created her usual jumper, and if creating dog jumpers is something you're interested in, then stick around because I'm going to have a tutorial for dog jumpers and coats coming up on the channel really soon. So in terms of creating the wings, I've started by drawing a vertical line down the centre of my pattern paper. I'm then going to just draft what I would like my wings to be, and I'm going to attach the wings to the jumper using Velcro here, also known as hook and loop tape. So I'm going to begin by working out how wide a gap I need to leave, almost to create my dragon's spine, like so. I'm getting it all stuck. So, looking at the length of Luna's jumper, just here, I want her wings, the spine of her wings, to be approximately this size. So that's how I'll affix her wings on, possibly a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm then going to draw a wing design on this side of the paper so that I can fold over the paper and trace this side so that each side is symmetrical. So here goes. I'm going to cut 2 of these out of my moulded scuba, and I'm going to interface one of those pieces. I'm also going to create some boning, and to create boning channels I'm simply going to stitch either side of these lines to create some rigidity in the wings, and I will simply sew channels either side of these guidelines. I'm going to fill them with this plastic boning strips I've got here, so that the wings will have some structure and some body. And so here are the 2 wing pieces cut out. One is interfaced and one isn't, and they're all ready for sewing. I'm actually really happy with this shape, and I think it's going to look really cute. I'm actually quite envious of Luna. Maybe I should have been a dragon too, but let's be honest, Dani wouldn't be half the icon she is without her dragons, so I've definitely got to nail this part of their costume. So that's it for day one. It's time for dinner, and more importantly, it's time for Luna's walk. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get Luna's costume finished and make some more progress on Dani's dress. But I'm really happy with how it's going so far. Fingers crossed. See you tomorrow. Okay, so it's day number 2, and today I'm hoping to get Luna's costume almost, if not completely finished, and carry on the work on the Dani dress. Hopefully draping the front pieces and the back cape style piece, and maybe getting to some painting. So everything crossed today. Let's get creating. Right, so I've started by using some white tailor's chalk to mark on where I want my boning to be for Luna's dragon wings, and I'll literally just sew with a straight stitch either side of these lines, creating channels by which to put in my plastic boning. But first, before I do that, and you'll notice as well that I've done that on my non-interfaced side, and this will be facing upwards when Luna is wearing the wings. But the first thing I'm going to do before creating those channels is to place the two pieces right sides together and pin all the way around the outside, and then stitch around, leaving gaps at each of these points where the boning is going to be, so that I can then turn the garment the right way to be able to put those boning channels and boning in. I'll also leave a few inch gap up here just so that I can turn it. So Luna's costume first today. Okay, so now that I've turned the wings out the right way, I'm now going to sew those boning channels. So this is what Luna's wings are looking like after I've sewn the boning channels. Here she comes. Luna? Could hear her shaking in the background. And so the next step is to place one of these plastic bones inside, here she comes, inside each of the channels, and then cut them to just before the stitching ends, and then just a little line of stitching to close the boning channel and encase the boning inside. In terms of finishing the ends, because this scuba doesn't fray, I think I'm just going to cut it to a point And then I think I'm going to do some top stitching all the way around, also encasing that raw edge at the top at the same time. I think that sounds like a plan. And then the only thing I have to do is put on the hook and loop tape, also known as Velcro, on the other side along the spine, and then the other side of the Velcro hook and loop tape to Luna's jumper. And although this does have an adhesive back, I am going to run a line of stitching up and down just to make sure it's doubly secure. But once I've done that, Luna's costume is actually complete. She's gonna look so cute in this. I cannot wait. Okay, so continuing with Dani's dress. The skirt, I'm really happy with the fullness of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take out these gathering stitches, because the only purpose they were serving was so that I could put the skirt onto Betty and check that I liked the fullness. So now that I know that, I'm going to take those gathering stitches out and I'm going to baste the chiffon layer to the lining layer, matching them up space-wise for gathers. I'm then going to fold both layers together over, creating a channel into which I can put some elastic to create an elasticated waistband, so it'll be nice and easy and comfy to wear. I've also started to drape the front pieces on too, and I've simply pinned them where the gold piece will end here and pins them at the waist, because of course when the belt is on it will be held in place like that. And I'm happy with how it looks, I'm happy with the fullness and size of the panels, so I will cut another panel the same size for this side of the dress. I'm not sure yet how I want to line this. I might just create a single panel of lining and then invisibly stitch it behind here, just at the bust piece, because of course that's one place we really don't want this to be see-through, but I'll have a think. And the back piece, which is almost cape-like, I'm going to use a longer panel of fabric, and I will simply place the fabric here, gathering it slightly at the shoulders, because the back view of Dani's dress, the cape part is slightly gathered and slightly into sort of a cowl shape. And it also, in some of the pictures you can see, gets tucked into the back of her skirt to create another drape. So I will pin that on and make sure that I like the size of the fabric panel for that. But before I get to any sewing of the skirt or any of the other panels, I need to get to some painting. If you have a look at the picture of Dani's dress, which should be here, you can see that it's got some gold, possibly embroidery, maybe paint on it. Now it looks almost like they're scallops, and it's not raining today. So I'm going to grab my fabric panels, get into the garden and use some gold acrylic paint and sponge to try and create a similar effect. It's been a while since I've painted. This could get incredibly messy, hence why I'm doing it in the garden. Let's give it a go. Really important when doing any kind of messy work like this, and that is remember your apron. If you haven't got an apron, then hit the card above for a tutorial on how to create your very own vintage inspired one like the one I'm wearing here. Let's get painting. That was quite a lot of painting. So now all my fabric is painted. The next thing I need to think about are the shoulder plates and the belts that Daenerys wears with this dress. Now there are two ways that I've thought of to create this. First one involves gold craft foam and a scalpel. And we all know I'm not the best with things like that with my hands. That's probably a little bit dangerous. The second option is using a glue gun and more of that acrylic paint. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I was hoping to get that part done today, at least the gluing part, but the painting and all the standing up has completely done a number on me. So I'm going to leave that for day 3. But I'm not that worried about getting this finished in time because Luna's costume is completely finished, and now I've done all the painting, there really isn't that much sewing left to do. So fingers crossed, day 3 will see me completing this dress. Wish me luck. Hello, good morning. Can you come say? So it's day 3 of creating this year's Halloween costumes, and today my focus is going to be creating the belt and shoulder plates that Dany wears with this dress. Now in Game of Thrones, the plates and belt that Emilia Clarke is wearing are actual gold filigree, but because my budget, time and skill set does not extend to that, I'll be using 2 main things. Greaseproof paper. You're going to eat this, aren't you? Yes. And a glue gun. The other thing I want to get done today is to add the waistband with elastic to my skirt and to create all the lines of gathering stitches on the front panels and the back panel, ready to add to those shoulder plates and belt when it's created. So I'm going to grab a cuppa and get going with patterning the belt and shoulder plates first. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah? Your costume's all finished. Yes. Yes it is. My little dragon. Nice. So I've started with a piece of greaseproof paper that is at least as wide as my waist measurement plus 3 inches. I've then plotted a rectangle, which is my desired width of my belt, which I've chosen 5 inches, and then my waist measurement plus 1 inch. And I've drawn a vertical line down the exact centre of that rectangle. And what I'm going to do is plot my pattern for the filigree belt on this side, and then I'll be able to fold the greaseproof paper in half and trace an exact copy of the side that I've created onto the other side, and it will then be time for glue gunning. So using the inspiration image, I'm going to start to draft the pattern. Okay, so I've finished drafting the pattern for the belt, and what I've also done is on either side I've added a bar here, and that will be to allow us to tie a ribbon through each side and tie the belt at the back gently. And I will do this with the glue gun a few times just to ensure that it's nice and strong and sturdy. I've also had a little practice run just with a little random pattern, and you can see how flexible the glue is, so I think this is going to be quite successful. So here goes nothing, let's get to some gluing. So I repeated the process to create my shoulder plates, and for the dimensions of those I chose 4 inches by 7 inches, and once again I created these little loops by which to tie the panels of fabric in to create the dress, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. So now it's time for painting. Okay, so it's day number 4, and last night I painted the shoulder plates and the belt with the gold acrylic paint, but I wasn't too happy with how it worked out. It was more of a shimmer than sort of a solid opaque gold, so I grabbed some spray paint. Yes, me and spray paint. This is the first time I've ever used it, and I can definitely say it's not going to be the last. I really enjoyed using this, and I was really lucky as well because I only bought a small can, but it managed to coat the belt and the shoulder plates perfectly, and I'm much happier with the result than with the acrylic paint, so that's great. The only other things I've got to do today to complete the entire costume are I need to stitch the panels on the front and the back of the dress to the actual shoulder plates, and then that's actually it. So I'm starting to get a little bit excited because it actually looks really, really good. And I'm usually one of those people who is quite sort of calm and reserves judgment. And to be honest, I'm more pessimistic than I am optimistic with my creations. I'm getting better at it, but with this, I'm actually feeling quite proud of it. So it's nearly time for the reveal. I'm very, very excited. In terms of Dani's hair and makeup when she's wearing this outfit, her makeup is quite neutral and it's quite like what I wear day to day. So I'm quite happy with that. There's not too much needed there. And for her hair, she's got quite a nice loose wave, hence the plaits in my hair today. And thanks to my gorgeous daughter, who is also my hairdresser extraordinaire, I now have a lovely Daenerys Targaryen, mother of dragons, hair. Look at that. So let's get to some sewing and then to the reveal. Fingers crossed, because I'm actually really excited about this. Let's go. Dani's dress also has the most beautiful bead detail from the belt, and although I have the perfect necklaces to use to create this, I also have a dragon who loves shiny things. So it's probably not the best idea to be having shiny things at her eye level. So I've decided not to add this particular detail this time, but it will definitely be something that I add to the costume further along if I decide to use it for cosplay. But let's get going. Wow, to say I'm happy with how this turned out, I've never made a bigger understatement. When I first decided to create this costume, I definitely thought I had bitten off more than I can chew, especially because when I chose this costume and this idea, I had no idea how I would create it. and I've never used glue gun in such a way before, and I've never used spray paint, but it all came out in the wash, and I'm so happy with how this costume came out. There were a few little hiccups along the way, but I managed to avoid a meltdown and put my positive pants on and kept going. The first hiccup was with the gold paint. I wasn't happy with how the acrylic was covering the plastic glue on the plates and on the belt. So enter the spray paint, which I will definitely be using again. I had so much fun with that. It should be illegal. The second hiccup came when I ran out of fabric. Yes, me, who's always telling everyone to buy more than they need, ran out of fabric. Originally, I wanted these front panels to be a lot more gathered, and I wanted the train at the back to end up along the floor, so it's actually a train. But yes, I ran out of fabric, so I went online and purchased more of what I thought was the exact same fabric. But it arrived and it was a completely different colour. So I ended up making these front panels half the width I wanted originally, and the back of my garments, the train and the back panel, is not as long as I wished or hoped for. However, long skirts, long trains, long fabric, and Evelyn would probably equal me tripping over, falling over, which, let's be honest, nobody wants. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise, but I'll definitely be following my own advice next time and getting much more fabric than I think I need. But I am definitely going to be taking more forays into the world of cosplay because it's something I absolutely love and I haven't done for ages. But that's definitely going to change now because I had so much fun doing this. However, it's now time for me to go and get a well-deserved cuppa because do you know what? I've earned it this week. Whatever you're doing this Halloween, my friends, and however you're dressing up, be sure to be safe and have fun. Let me know how you get on in the comments below, and come and follow me over on Instagram where I'm going to share more shots of this costume. But till next week, friends, I'm off to get a cuppa. Bye!